Congratulations to Mike Riley and Oregon State. They had a really nice plan, executed it very well on both sides of the ball. I thought our offense responded really well for the majority of the game, answering scores, and I was really glad to see that. I thought Jamal Williams emerged, and I actually thought we threw it and caught it better than we had, and we were more consistent offensively, probably through about 3/4 of the game, maybe 3.5. Oregon State's ability to throw it over the top of us, big pass plays, I thought was the difference in the game. They were able to execute on a lot of critical situations, but just giant chunks. And so, again, our inability to defend the pass well and downfield throws, and Oregon State's receivers' ability to keep making the critical play, I thought was the difference in the game. That's a tribute to Oregon State's coaches. Their plan exceeded that of ours, and their program really, I thought their players performed at a higher level in critical situations than ours did today. So credit to them, and a tough loss for us.
Oregon State's quarterback Baz was a backup, but he obviously is very good. Your thoughts maybe on how your team defended him? Did you expect him to be that good?
Well, we thought he could throw the ball well, just from what a little bit of tape we saw, and we didn't see anything concept-wise that we hadn't seen, and really had an extra day of preparation, so all the same routes that were working against us today, I really felt, and obviously misevaluated, and thought we were ready to handle, but we weren't, because it happened multiple times. And again, I think our players will do exactly what they're asked to do, and so he just delivered the ball where it was supposed to. They made a real focused effort on protection, meaning 7- and 8-man protection, 2 and 3 guys out in the routes to make sure we couldn't get to them. And the routes took longer to develop downfield and more time to cover. Even when we were dropping 8, they were completing passes. And so, again, their plan and execution was well, and they played at a higher level than we did. And their quarterback deserves credit for doing what he was supposed to do, which he did.
So their pass production, would you pin that more as a lack of preparation from the coaching staff, or a lack of execution from the secondary?
Well, I think it's both. I think, again, the players play as they're prepared, and so anytime we don't perform well, I always look at myself first, and I could have prepared them much better, obviously, otherwise they would have performed better.
What did you think of Riley Nelson's performance?
I thought there was a lot of progress made through, again, about 3.5 quarters. Man, I saw our offense probably as clean as I've seen it this year in terms of running and passing and scoring points. We forced the issue a little bit at the end and made some poor decisions as more and more pressure shifted offensively, as defensively we weren't defending, again, very well. And so I thought that's where it unraveled a little bit, but the majority of the game, and I thought he played well.
Bronco, safe to say, if you thought you'd get 24 points, you'd be in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, I would have been great, or felt great, if I thought that's what would have happened. And so again, I still see that as a positive offensively, that we did to make some strides.
You had 2 tipped balls that cost you 2 touchdowns off of tipped passes. Those are just the breaks, and you got to bounce back. The guys just didn't seem to, be able to come back a couple of times after those tipped passes.
Yeah, I don't know really how to answer that question, other than that was one of those days where not many bounces went our way, and usually that's a reflection of, again, just sometimes that just happens, other times it's, again, tied to the plan and the execution. So we've been making a lot of plays, and they made a lot of plays today. They made more plays to win.
In all 3 losses, you haven't been able to get control of the game, go in front, and I know you've been able to come back multiple times, but how big of a difference would it have been able to put a drive together and maybe be able to take a lead and kind of have control?
I think that would have been great, dead even at halftime, and I thought it would go like that right to the very end. Again, they continued to get some big chunks through the air and make some critical plays, and eventually we were trying to match score for score and started not to, which then more pressure shifted and then some mistakes occurred.
I don't have the numbers on me, but it seemed like on offense, Oregon State was targeting whoever Jordan was guarding. Did you feel that way at all during the course of the game?
At the beginning, yes. And so we took some measures and protected him a little bit. And again, anytime you work and roll one way, there are weaknesses elsewhere. And their routes and their concepts were just exceptional. So again, my hat's off to them. They really did a nice job in terms of their planning.
So your receiver, you talked about with Cody at 10. but they weren't able to get behind it. Were you kind of stuck in a possession sort of mode?
Yeah, Oregon State wasn't playing super aggressive. They were playing, I think, to prevent balls from going over the top, and so that just forces consistency from beginning of the game to end. And while they were giving up scores, ultimately at the end, their strategy worked.
Them basically scoring on their first possession, did you feel like it took some of the swagger from your defense that your defense came into the game with?
Not necessarily. I think it was reflective of the first couple series. Their plan didn't really change after that, or their first two scores, and I really thought we would have, and I would have, better answers. Thought they were, just didn't execute them well enough, and so that's where it became frustrating, I think, to all of us, is that even things that we thought would be the right play into the right play, we weren't executing it very well. And again, that's preparation. That's on me.
How would you evaluate what's been going on at tight end recently?
I think we took a step back today. We didn't catch the ball well, and I think Connie had been playing really well early in the season, making clutch catches, etc. Today it seemed like we struggled to just catch it cleanly and move forward.
You had the 2 pass interference calls. Was that a result of those big chunks they were able to get earlier in the game?
I think so. The rule is pretty simple. You have to be playing the ball, and while we had good position, you have to make an attempt to look back. The officials didn't think we were doing that, and that's the equivalent of 2 15-yard passes. And so, yeah, they hurt.
Anything else for Coach?
Can you just talk about bouncing back? You're facing a big game at Notre Dame.
It's going to be hard. Looking forward to it. It'll be a great test for all of us. We believed we had a great chance to compete and win this game, and I think we did. Didn't play well enough to do it. But certainly no one will feel sorry for us. We'll have to get right back up, work extremely hard. The team will have to rally and focus hard on making improvements and going into now a difficult setting against another good team. And that's part of the reason we play and coach, though, is to respond. Thank you.